German, Panzerjäger I, or the full official name 4.7 cm Pack, SFL-PZ KPFW.IOSP.B, is a German anti-tank self-propelled gun. It was created based on the Panzerkampfwagen IOSP. The tank and armed with a captured 47 mm Czechoslovak anti-tank gun pack. 36 T L/43.4 Skoda 47 mm A 5 PUV VZ.36. It is the first mass-produced anti-tank self-propelled gun produced by Germany during World War II. By 1940, the Panzerkampfwagen I was no longer satisfactory for the requirements of modern warfare. To prolong the life of functional tanks, the Berlin firm Alkit developed several projects for self-propelled guns based on the PZKPFW.I. The most interesting was the anti-tank self-propelled gun, equipped with the trophy Czechoslovak gun pack 36 T, which Germany acquired as a result of the occupation of Czechoslovakia. A drawback of this generally successful gun was the lack of a carriage adapted for mechanical towing, which imposed significant limitations on its use in the German army. However, as a result of using the chassis of the outdated tank, a fairly successful self-propelled gun was created. The production of the Panzerjäger I was organized at Alkit. The Krupp consortium was also involved in the output, being tasked with manufacturing 60 hulls. In Krupp's correspondence, these vehicles were referred to as La S.47. An additional 72 hulls were produced at the Deutsche Edelstahlwerk AG, DEW, plant in Hanover. Skoda was also kept busy. The plant in Pilsen received an order to produce guns for the tank destroyer. In reality, the last two built vehicles remained at Alkit for a long time. The reason was that Skoda failed to meet the production plan for the guns. The penultimate Panzerjäger I of the first series was delivered in September 1940, and the last one only in July 1941. The good results of the installations used in France served as a basis to consider the production of an additional series of self-propelled installations. On September 19, 1940, a contract was concluded with Krupp for the manufacture of a batch of 70 turrets. The machines of the second series differed in the shape of the turret, which received additional side plates. Initially, it was planned that Alkit would handle the conversion of PZ KPFW.IOSP.B into Panzerjäger I, but on October 15, the plans changed. The thing is, Alkit was overloaded with the production of self-propelled guns Stu G3 OSP.B. As a result, only 10 vehicles were converted in Spandau. The backup production site was assigned to Klockner Humboldt-Deutz. This company, which also included the firm Magirus, is better known for trucks. Nevertheless, it was here that 60 tanks were converted into Panzerjäger I from December 1940 to February 1941. The Panzerjäger I were organized into 3 company battalions, with a company consisting of 9 vehicles. Company commanders and the battalion commander each received 1 KL.PZ.BF.WG. In total, a battalion was supposed to consist of 31 armored vehicles. However, during the French campaign, the 521st Anti-Tank Battalion, Panzerjägerabteilung 521, consisted of companies with 6 vehicles each. Primarily, such battalions were used as separate anti-tank units. The Panzerjäger I participated in the French campaign, the North African campaign, and operations on the territory of the USSR. During the French campaign, the Panzerjäger I were supplied to the 521st, 616th, 643rd, and 670th Anti-Tank Battalions, a total of 99 units. From the first days of the campaign, only the 521st ATB participated in combat operations. The others were gradually introduced into battle as they completed their training. In fights against French tanks, the Panzerjäger I demonstrated mediocre effectiveness. The insufficient armor penetration of the gun was evident. The ammunition load for the Panzerjäger I typically consisted of 74 armor-piercing shells and 10 high-explosive shells. The 605th Anti-Tank Battalion participated in the North African campaign, equipped with 27 Panzerjäger I. It arrived in Tripoli between March 18 to 21, 1941, as part of the 5th Light Division. In the battles of June 1941, 3 vehicles were lost. An additional 5 vehicles were sent for replenishment. However, by October 2, only 3 of them had arrived, as the others sank in the Mediterranean Sea along with the transport ship Castellan. At the beginning of Operation Crusader, the battalion had 27 self-propelled guns. During the British Operation Crusader, the battalion lost 13 vehicles. Taking into account the losses and reinforcements, by the time of the Second Battle of El Alamein, the battalion had only 11 vehicles left. In addition, there were 9 vehicles with the motorized brigades of the Leibstandard SS Adolf Hitler and the 900th Training. Thus, against the Soviet Union, Germany deployed 153 units. Another 24 vehicles were in the 605th Battalion in North Africa and 21 in training units in France. In June 1941, the German army had 198 units out of 202 produced. Until July 27, 1941, the 529th Anti-Tank Battalion lost 4 Panzerjäger I. On November 23, 1941, reports listed 16 vehicles, including 2 non-operational ones. Most, apparently, did not survive the winter of 1941-1942, as the 521st Anti-Tank Battalion reported only 5 operational vehicles on May 5, 1942. By the time it was disbanded on June 30, 1942, the 529th Anti-Tank Battalion had only 2 vehicles in service. The 616th Anti-Tank Battalion was an exception, as it reported having Panzerjäger I in all 3 companies in the fall of 1942. The last mentions of their combat use date back to 1943. By the beginning of Operation Barbarossa, the Wehrmacht had received subcaliber shells, which significantly increased the anti-tank capabilities of the Panzerjäger I. This made it possible to fight against the latest Soviet tanks T-34 and KV-1, but only at distances of about 500 to 600 meters. Armor-piercing shells against the T-34 and KV at a distance of 500 to 600 m were almost useless. Older models of Soviet armored vehicles were confidently penetrated from 700 m even by caliber armor-piercing shells. However, the blast effect of the 47 mm subcaliber shell was relatively weak, and even when armor was penetrated, the core often fractured and lost kinetic energy. Among the shortcomings of the Panzerjäger I identified in the conditions of the Eastern Front were overloading and, as a consequence, insufficient reliability of the chassis and transmission. The engine turned out to be completely unadapted to work at low temperatures, and the absence of special winter lubricants in the supplies only exacerbated the situation.